Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to our July All-Stakeholder meeting for the Summer EBT program known as Sunbucks. My name is Paula Martinez, and I'm one of the analysts assisting with the Sunbucks implementation. We will start with a few housekeeping slides to familiarize you with the meeting controls. Next slide, please. As you may have noted, this is a Zoom webinar. This webinar will be in listen-only mode. The meeting invitation also provides the option to connect to audio via phone or computer, depending on your preference. This webinar will be recorded. As soon as the recording becomes available, you may follow the YouTube link on the Sunbucks webpage or go to the CDSS YouTube website to access the video recording. Next slide, please. While this webinar is listen-in only mode, we are providing a way for questions to be asked. The primary way to ask questions about the program and today's content is by using the Q&A section. If you have any program questions, please ask them by selecting the Q&A button located at the bottom of your screen. You're welcome to submit a question at any time during the webinar, and they will be collected and answered at the end of the webinar during our Q&A period. Next slide, please. We are also offering the chat feature in addition to Q&A. Please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, share your name, location, and organization if applicable. Note that when using this feature, you have the option to select everyone, which is the default, or to select a specific participant to send your chat to. If you're having any logistical issues, you can use the chat function to ask for support from one of our co-hosts, Bernardo Villarreal, who is handling logistics today. To do so, first go to the meeting controls. Second, select Bernardo Villarreal in the dropdown. 3, type in your logistic question and hit enter. Lastly, Bernardo will respond and provide you with an answer to your question. The chat feature is to be used for logistical questions only. All program questions should be asked in the Q&A section so we can better keep track of, respond, and document these questions. Now we'll hand it over to Jeremy. Next slide, please.
Hello, my name is Jeremy, and I'm one of the managers here on the Sunbucks team. In today's meeting, we will revisit some of the information we shared in our June meeting because it's important that we're all on the same page. And we know that with such a varied, wide audience, for some people, this may be their first Sunbucks webinar. So today, we will provide background and an overview of Sunbucks, share some estimates of program participation, and discuss who's eligible for the program. Discuss how benefits will be issued and how customer service will be provided. We will also discuss our outreach efforts, including our social media campaign and robo-messaging for July. And as always, we'll go over our next steps and we'll provide some time for questions and answers. With that said, let's get started. Next slide, please. Let's start with an overview of how we arrived at Sunbucks as the new permanent Summer EBT program. In December 2022, Congress passed the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2023, which created a new permanent Summer EBT program for states to provide food benefits to families with school-aged children and low income over the summer months beginning in 2024. In July 2023, California passed Assembly Bill 120, establishing the California Department of Social Services, CDSS, as the lead agency in partnership with the California Department of Education, CDE, to maximize the Summer EBT program participation for summer 2024. In early 2024, the USDA rebranded Summer EBT to Sunbucks, the Sun name being derived from the word summer and nutrition. And California has adopted the USDA Sunbucks brand guidelines. For summer 2024, it is estimated that approximately 5 million California children will be automatically eligible for Sunbucks. The program will provide $40 per month, or $120 for total for June, July, and August, in food benefits to children eligible for free or reduced price meals. Sometimes that might be referred to as FRPM. The school closure period of June, July, August is also known as the summer operational period. Next slide, please. Before we get into Sunbuck specifics, we want to define some terminology that will be important to know and understand for the upcoming slides. You will hear the terms NSLP and S-EBT when used in discussing schools and eligible children. One of the requirements for Sunbuck's eligibility is that a child attend a school that participates in the National School Lunch Program, also known as NSLP, or the School Breakfast Program, also known as S-EBT. The NSLP and S-EBT are programs available to qualifying schools that serves meals to students. It is overseen by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, or USDA, and administered by the CDE. These programs are federal and state reimbursement programs for healthy, quality meals served and meet federal requirements. Schools that operate NSLP and S-EBT are required to offer free or reduced price meals to eligible children. Another term we may refer to throughout this presentation is the summer operational period and instructional school year. For California, the summer operational period is June 1st through August 31st. This may differ in other states as the summer operational period is defined based on the state's average school calendar. The Department of Education reviewed available school calendars and found that over 90% of California schools are on summer break between June 1st and August 31st. The instructional school year is the other months when children are normally attending class. For 2024, when we refer to our previous instructional school year, we are referring to the time period of August 1st, 2023 through May 31st, 2024. There are two main ways that children can be eligible, and the age parameters for eligibility differs for both. In California, the compulsory age to attend school for children is ages 6 through 18. So when we say school age, we are referring to those children. Lastly, you will hear CEP, or Provision 2 school. CEP stands for Community Eligibility Provision School. CEP, or Provision 2 schools, allow the nation's highest poverty schools and districts to serve breakfast and lunch at no cost to all enrolled students without collecting household applications. Next slide, please. Let's now transition into our estimates for Sunbucks. Next slide, please. CDSS and CDE estimate that nearly 5 million kids will be automatically eligible for Sunbucks. However, we anticipate the total number of children participating in Sunbucks will increase depending on the number of households who haven't yet applied for free or reduced price meals and are approved. The following 2 bullet points are the general eligibility requirements. There are 2 ways that children may be automatically eligible, which is called streamlined certification. All children that are school age, 6 to 18 years old, and receive CalFresh, CalWorks, or Medi-Cal at or under 185% of the federal poverty level for at least 1 month during the previous instructional school year will be eligible for Sunbucks for 2024. To reiterate, for 2024, any child who receives CalFresh, CalWorks, or Medi-Cal for at least 1 month in the previous instructional year will be eligible to receive Sunbucks in this summer. Now, the second form of automatic eligibility. All children between the ages of 0 through 22 are eligible if they are attending a school that participates in the NSLP or S-EBT, and they are certified for free or reduced price meals. Data from CalSAWS and CalPADS, the respective departments' databases, identify streamlined certification that allows for automatic issuances. Thus, eligibility for the majority of Sunbucks benefits will be determined automatically. Now, as a quick note, there are some exceptions. Children attending certain schools who are not automatically eligible for Sunbucks benefits will have the option to apply using alternative income forms. We'll share more on that shortly. Next slide, please. This is a quick visual breakdown of those streamlined children in groups B and C, which we'll go over in a minute. 3.4 million children, or 77%, are identified as eligible through receiving CalFresh, CalWORKS, and Medi-Cal. And 1.4 million, or 23%, of children are identified as being eligible through being certified by the CDE for free and reduced price meals. Next slide, please. This slide provides visual illustration of the ways in which children are eligible for Sunbucks. These are the ABCs of eligibility. Groups B and C in teal colors on the right are those automatically enrolled due to streamlined certification. Now, a much smaller group of children is Group A, who are not streamlined certified, those in the banana color on the left. And now we'll look more closely at how children can get Sunbucks. Next slide, please. What is an alternative income form? Oops, I'm sorry, 1 second. To be clear, there is no application form for 2024. However, children who attend CEP and Provision 2 schools that are not categorically eligible or already receiving public assistance will have to take action by completing an alternative income form or school meal application. What is an alternative income form? Alternative income forms are typically used by CEP or Provision 2 schools to gather information about households, such as the names of all household members and income. While the interim final rule issued by the USDA speaks of an application for Sunbucks, for 2024, there is no Sunbucks-specific application. Instead, we will be utilizing the alternative income form. Thus, families of children in Group A who are eligible and attend a CEP or Provision 2 school and do not receive public benefits in Group B, or who are not categorically eligible or otherwise streamlined certified, Group C, will have to take action by completing an alternative income form. Households can request alternative income forms from their schools. The household will fill out the form and submit it back to the school. It is important that households fill out this form as it determines whether the household is eligible for Sunbucks. And as a reminder, we anticipate this to be the smallest group of recipients for Sunbucks, but since they have to take action to get them, they will require the most outreach. Next slide, please. Group B eligibility. This speaks to a child that will automatically get Sunbucks if they're age 6 to 18 and receive CalFresh, CalWORKS, or Medi-Cal at or below 185% of the federal poverty level. Data to determine their eligibility is being collected from CalSAWS and will be used to support streamlined certification. Next slide, please. This is a little more on Group C eligibility. A child will automatically get Sunbucks if they are age 0 through 22 years old and attending a school that operates an SLP or SBP and are certified for free or reduced price meals. Children in Group C can be certified for free or reduced price meals in a few ways. 1, they submit a school meal application to their school and are approved. 2, they are identified by the school as categorically eligible, meaning they're a child in foster care, they are experiencing homelessness, are identified as a runaway, they are part of a migrant household, or they are attending Head Start. Or 3, they are directly certified for free or reduced price meals, meaning the school has identified they receive public assistance in such as CalFresh and automatically are certified as eligible for free or reduced price meals. Data to determine their eligibility is being collected from the CDE and will be used to support streamlined certifications. Now, I will hand it over to Adriana. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Jeremy. Hello, my name is Adriana, and I am one of the managers assisting with the SumBucks implementation. Now, let's transition to benefits and the issuance plan. Next slide, please. SumBucks benefits are being provided via electronic benefit transfer on an EBT card. They are being issued in a lump sum of $120, which includes $40 per month for each of the 3 summer months, which includes June, July, and August. One card will be issued per eligible child for the entirety of the summer. For example, a household that has 3 eligible children will receive 3 separate cards in the mail, one for each child. Because these benefits are intended for summer use, the Code of Federal Regulations requires that benefits be expunged or removed 122 days from when the benefits are loaded onto the card. We'd like to note that the expungement date is not noted on the card or any of the accompanying documents. Customers may contact the SumBucks helpline if they would like to know their card's expungement date. We'd also like to note that benefits cannot be reloaded to the cards once they have been removed. Additionally, for 2024, cards will be magnetic strip. Chip tap cards will not be available for this summer. For enhanced security, we do encourage cardholders to download the free EBT Edge mobile app to their app to create their PIN and learn how to protect their benefits. This tool will provide SumBucks cardholders with enhanced card security features, including the ability to freeze and unfreeze the card, change their PIN, and check their balance. More information can be found at www.ebt.ca.gov. Card replacements will be handled through a call center. Cards may be replaced if lost, damaged, or stolen. For 2024, benefits lost due to fraud will not be replaced. However, they may be replaced due to household misfortune or disaster. Since SumBucks benefits expire 122 days after being issued onto the cards, families who also receive CalFresh should prioritize using their SumBucks benefits first. Next slide, please. SumBucks card carrier information. We received feedback that stakeholders and advocates would like to see what was included in the envelope with the SumBucks card. This slide provides you with a screenshot of the card carrier. The following information is included on the card carrier to help customers with questions they may have, which includes an explanation of what SumBucks benefits are, the link to the SumBucks webpage, the customer service helpline phone number, how to activate the card, set up the PIN or change the PIN, how to report the card as lost or damaged. The card carrier also provides information on downloading the EBT Edge app to their mobile device. The card carrier does not include information on the card benefit expungement date. As a reminder, the customer will have to call the SumBucks helpline to inquire what this date is. Next slide, please. Now, let's discuss how and when households can expect to receive their benefits. SumBucks issuances have begun, and each eligible child will receive a card with $120 in food benefits. It's important to understand that cards will be mailed alphabetically by last name to the address on file based on the hierarchy you see to the right of the slide. Households receiving CalFresh, CalWorks, and Medi-Cal will serve as the foundation of the hierarchy, followed by the address on file at the child's school. For example, if a child was identified as eligible by the Department of Education but they also receive CalWORKs, the mailing address on the CalWORKs case will take priority over the mailing address in the school system if they happen to be different. Now, let's talk more about the timing of benefit issuance. Since we estimate close to 5 million children will get SumBucks, and the card vendor can only process and mail about 2 million cards per month, children will receive SumBucks cards throughout the summer and possibly beyond. We'll look at this a little bit more closely. Next slide, please. Again, due to the large volume of Streamline certified kids, issuances will occur in 2 stages. We are currently in stage 1 delivery, as shown in the slide by the red outlines. For stage 1, households have begun receiving their cards and will continue throughout August. This addresses the nearly 5 million kids in groups B and C who are Streamline certified. Stage 2 households will begin receiving their cards in late August. These issuances will address new eligibility determinations made in the summer operational period. These will include kids in Group A, described earlier, who complete an alternative income form or who are newly eligible through school meals applications, or CalWORKs, CalFresh, and Medi-Cal. This stage will also include escalation issuances. This means cards will continue to be sent after August and likely through January 2025. But regardless of when the card is mailed or received, each SumBucks card will still be loaded with the full $120 per eligible child. Next slide, please. Communicating the timing and delivery of cards is a critical piece of our outreach campaign. Since card deliveries are spread across the summer, we want to provide our best estimates of when they will be delivered. As we mentioned earlier, cards are being mailed alphabetically according to the child's last name. This means Streamline certified children with last names starting with the letter A through D can expect to receive their cards in June. Children with last names starting with the letter E through L can expect to receive their cards in July, and children with last names starting with the letter M through Z can expect to receive their cards in August. We'd also like to add that we shared this graphic in the June SunBucks newsletter, which is currently posted on the SunBucks website. We hope this helps folks understand when they can expect to receive their cards. Next slide, please. Now let's look at the stage 1 card issuances, which includes children Streamline certified in groups B and C. We are excited to announce that SumBucks cards began arriving to families the week of May 28th. And as of July 2nd, 2024, over 2.7 million SumBucks cards have been mailed, which is 56% of the total cards. This means we are on target to complete the mailing of 4.9 million cards by mid-August 2024. Next slide, please. And now we'll transition to customer service. Next slide, please. Customer service is a huge piece to ensuring a successful rollout of the SumBucks program, and our call center has been live and operating since May 28th. The helpline phone number is provided on the slide and can be found in the card mailer, on the back of the SumBucks card, and on our website. The call center helps families with PIN setup, card replacements, address changes, both general and complex eligibility questions, and fields escalations to CDSS and CDE as necessary. Escalation items could include requests to opt out of the SumBucks program, requests for benefit replacements due to a household misfortune or disaster, or eligibility disputes. The helpline also provides expungement dates to families. Next slide, please. Now, we'd like to share some data on the calls received. The first table shows the total number of calls received in June, broken down by language for a total of 117,053 calls. The second table shows the calls received from July 1st through July 9th, also broken down by language for a total of 56,515 calls. Next slide, please. Duplicate card issuances. The SumBucks team has been made aware that there have been some instances in which families are receiving more than one SumBucks card for the same child. As a reminder, each eligible child is entitled to only one issuance of $120 for the summer 2024 period. If a family erroneously receives more than one issuance, the family must notify the SumBucks helpline immediately by calling 877-328-9677 and must destroy the extra card received. And now I'll hand it over to Osmar to discuss our outreach efforts. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Adriana. Hello, my name is Osmar, and I am one of the analysts helping with SumBucks implementation. Let's transition over to outreach efforts. Next slide, please. Because SumBucks is a brand new program, California implemented in 2024, we're using the various methods of outreach and education you see on the screen to inform families on SumBucks, including these all stakeholder meetings, which are posted to the CDSS YouTube channel. We'll share the link in the chat. Next slide, please. We're continuously updating the SumBucks webpage, as it is a great resource for families and our stakeholders to access additional information about the SumBucks program. We'll share the link in the chat. The website currently has information on what are SumBucks, who is eligible, how to get SumBucks, how to submit a dispute, FAQs, other food resources, and a partners page. Most recently, we've published in our partners page the SumBucks June 2024 quarterly newsletter on June 10th, and in Spanish on June 14th. On July 3rd, we published the SumBucks general flyer. Please note, other website updates and recommendations are forthcoming, and please feel free to direct folks to this website to learn more about SumBucks. Next slide, please. We're happy to announce that our June 2024 social media infographics are now available on the partners page of our website under resources in English, Spanish, and Chinese. We'll share the link in the chat. We're working closely with our translation services section to provide future materials in California's top 19 threshold languages. Definitely more to come. We want to take this moment to thank our CDE partners, our advocates, plus the folks at our Public Affairs Office for their feedback and input on the text and images of our campaigns. Next slide, please. Moving forward, our plan for SumBucks 2024 social media messaging is to be introduced in 3 phases, as seen on the screen. For July, use SumBucks before CalFresh. For August, SumBucks applications due August 31st. And for September, use SumBucks before they expire. Note that due to the variation in our eligibility groups and staggered card issuances, future messaging campaigns may need to be tailored appropriately. As a note, our public affairs office will be posting these future campaigns via CDSS Facebook, LinkedIn, and X, formerly known as Twitter. These campaigns will also be available on the CDSS Sunbucks website under the Partners page. Next slide, please. We're also happy to remind everyone that Stage 1 automated messages launched June 6th of 2024. More statistics on Stage 1 will be provided on the next slide. As a reminder, automated messaging consists of emails, text messages, phone calls that are sent to families whose children were Streamline certified for Sunbucks in Stage 1. Families did receive a Sunbucks card and not an email, text, or phone call. That is okay. The messaging is regarding their automatic enrollment in Sunbucks and to expect their Sunbucks card in the mail if they have not received them just yet. Automated messaging will be staggered according to the issuance timeline we shared a little earlier. Stage 2 will begin in August for children who were not included in Stage 1. Also note that we have had these messages translated into the top threshold languages, which include Spanish, Vietnamese, Chinese, Russian, Armenian, and Arabic. To address groups A and C, we will work with our partners at CDE to support messaging to these audiences via their various town halls, listservs, social media, and a web page. Now let's dive into our Stage 1 automated messaging statistics so far. Sorry, I'm giving my interpreter some time to catch up. So now our statistics. Here we're looking at Stage 1 automated messaging statistics. As you can see, as of July 16th of 2024, we've sent 627,597 email messages to families out of a total of 982,232 messages. We've sent 141,741 text messages to families out of a total of 224,716. And finally, we've sent 174,271 voice messages to families out of a total of 276,271. Needless to say, the word continues to spread on Sunbucks cards and benefits to California families. Next slide, please. Now let's transition to our Sunbucks big wins and next steps. Next slide, please. To highlight some of Sunbucks' efforts so far, let's look at some of our big wins. As of July 9th, over 2.7 million Sunbucks cards have been mailed. This equates to over 100 million in food purchased with Sunbucks cards. Sunbucks families have expressed gratitude, which we will touch on the next slide. And just a reminder, our biggest win of all, we are one of the first states in the nation to issue Sunbucks benefits this summer. Congratulations to our Sunbucks team, internal CDSS team, CDE, advocates, and stakeholders for making this happen. Next slide, please. We take this moment to share with you that Sunbucks has received numerous emails from families that express their appreciation for receiving Sunbucks. This slide highlights the heartfelt feedback we have received from families. We thank you, stakeholders, for working alongside us to deliver important information to Sunbucks participants. Next slide, please. Now, as for our next steps, we will continue with our outreach campaigns throughout the summer to inform families about the Sunbucks program, to use their Sunbucks before CalFresh benefits, to apply before the August 31st for families not automatically enrolled, and to remind families to use their Sunbucks benefits before their expungement date. We will continue to track card issuance and call center metrics. And finally, we will continue planning alongside our CDE partners for the 2025 Plan of Operations and Management, also known as the POM, for next year. Now, I'll pass this to Paula to review questions that have been asked in the Q&A chat. Thank you, everyone. Next slide, please.
Hello, everyone. I'm back to review the Q&A section with you all. But first, just a quick reminder that this webinar was recorded. A link to all presentation materials will be published on the website once available. Please note that these require time and patience for ADA accessibility and translation. You can find recordings from our prior stakeholder meetings on the Sunbucks playlist as part of the CDSS YouTube channel. You can see the link to the page on the slide and as well as in the chat. Now we'd like to hear from you. What questions do you have? As mentioned earlier in the webinar, you can ask your questions using the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen, and I will respond verbally. We will respond verbally and in writing. Now we'll go ahead and go over the questions that have already been asked during the course of this webinar and the responses to these as well. So the first question is, do we have estimates for what last names have gotten their Sunbucks cards mailed out by now? The answer is last names E through L are being mailed in July. The following question, can you please remind us what are the estimated number of eligible children not automatically eligible and will need to complete a meal or alternative income form? Great question. We are currently working with CDE to reassess the number of children that need to complete a meal app or alt income form. We will share this estimate once we get the information from CDE. Next question, would you please review the household categories for Group C eligibility? The response to that is a child will automatically get Sunbucks if they are aged 0 to 22 and attending schools that are part of the National School Lunch and/or School Breakfast Program and certified for free or reduced priced meals. Another question submitted is, I thought something was stated about immigrant households, etc. Yes, Group C, the answer to that is yes, Group C children can be streamlined certified by their schools by being categorically eligible, meaning they're a child in foster care, experiencing homelessness, are identified as a runaway, or a part of a migrant household, or are attending Head Start. Following question is, do we have any stats for how many cards have been pinned for use out of those mailed out? The response is, out of 2.88 million cards with benefits loaded, 1.67 million have been pinned, so 58%. Did all counties receive, the next question is, did all counties receive a list of identified homeless families? I submitted the CWD address, but did not receive a list. The answer to that question is, please send a request to Sunbucks at dss.ca.gov, and we will send you a list. Following question is, can customers pin their cards at their local county office? The response is, customers should utilize EBT Edge or contact the helpline to set up their PIN. Another question is, do they need to save the card for next summer? The answer to that is no, they do not. Next question is, I might have misheard, but suggest to clarify that it is not only CEP or P2 students not Streamline certified who need to apply. It is also students at non-CEP/P2 schools not already in NSLP/SBP certified who need to submit an application. The response to that is, we've been communicating the eligibility requirements with LEAs and families, making it clear that unlike PEBT, individual eligibility is required for all students, either through meal applications at standard counting and claiming sites or through an alternative income form at provision sites for children who are not Streamline certified. Next question is, what if a family uses a duplicate card without knowing? Would they be expected to pay back the benefits? The response to that is no, they will not be expected to pay back benefits. Next question submitted is, do we have any stats for PIN cards by county? The response to that is no, we do not have stats for cards pinned by county. Next question, are there Sunbucks over issuances if a child gets duplicate Sunbucks cards? The answer is currently there are no over issuances. Following question, can they use it at restaurants? The answer is Sunbucks cards can be used at restaurants only for areas where a hot food waiver is approved. Otherwise, the restaurant meal program is not applicable to Sunbucks cards. Following question, if a Sunbucks card is sent to a CWD office due to a receipt of CalFresh, who is allowed to pick up the card? Can a child pick up the card themselves, or does the parent or the parent on the case have to pick up the card? The answer to that is follow the mail pickup rules established by the designated county office. Next question is, if a child is no longer in the home on a public assistance case and the Sunbucks cards was sent to the CWD office, can the parent on the case the child was previously on pick up the card? The answer to that is please follow the mail pickup rules established by the designated county office. Next question is, how are they sending in the feedback? So great to see the feedback that has been coming in from families. Sorry if I missed this, but how are they sending in the feedback? The response to that is feedback was sent via replies to robo messages sent to families. The last question is, does eligibility for this program include satisfactory immigration status for the child or children in the household? The answer is citizenship status does not affect eligibility for Sunbucks. So those are all the questions. If there is no other questions, we can move, we can go on to the next slide. Our next meeting will be on Tuesday, August 20th from 2 to 3. Be on the lookout for an invite to the next meeting. Meanwhile, feel free to email your questions to sunbucks@dss.ca.gov. Also, remember that all meeting materials will be sent out to everyone on the email distribution list once they are available. Next slide, please. Thank you all for participating, and we look forward to seeing you next month, and have a great rest of your day, everyone.